In a world of high-paced action games jam-packed with all your favorite media properties, or storied competitive games with endless ways to get better, why should you play a damn near 30-year-old point-and-click adventure game? Well, there are a bunch of reasons. First, when it comes to value for money, there is near endless amounts of content in this game. The game is set up in a way that nobody could ever beat it, and there are very few people who will master every aspect of this game. The game is great because there's always something else to do, and there are always multiple ways to go about solving whatever problem you need solved. Whether that's, I need to get my woodcutting level up, or I need money to buy upgrades to do a boss. There are a million different ways to tackle a million different problems, and oftentimes you find yourself in a sort of spiral where you need to do one thing, to do the next thing, to do the next thing, to finally achieve your goal. And this sort of interconnection of things is very, very fun and satisfying as you learn about the world. Also, RuneScape is a true sandbox. If you're familiar with MMOs, this might be confusing to you, but RuneScape does not have a class system. You can have whatever level in any of the 23 skills the game has at any point. Rather than the game forcing you down a specific path, you have to play ranged, you have to use a bow and arrow, you have to use weapons. In RuneScape, you can master all of them, or none of them. The game fully encourages you to engage with its systems in ways that maybe would be unorthodox. There is an entire ecosystem of YouTubers who just make videos playing their very niche, specific, restricted accounts. Whether that's limiting gameplay to a certain area, making it so you can only train a specific set of skills, making a bunch of tasks, putting them in a spreadsheet, and then randomizing them so you have to do certain things in a very specific order. This game will fully allow you to play in your own way, and as a matter of fact, it will encourage you to do so. Now sure, there are consequences to limiting yourself, but nonetheless, this behavior is fully championed so much that the game even includes alternate game modes, such as Iron Man, where you can't rely on other players at all, and you have to do everything yourself, or Ultimate Iron Man for the real masochists, where you can't even store items in a bank. You have the 28 inventory slots the game gives you in your backpack, and whatever other cheese methods you can come up with to store items on the fly. This game respects your time. It may demand a lot of it, but at its core, RuneScape will almost never take your achievements away. If you spend 50 hours grinding a skill to its max, you will have that max level skill forever. The developers of old school RuneScape, this YouTuber's preferred version of the game, learned immense lessons from shoving microtransactions into its slightly newer but also slightly older brother RuneScape 3. I'm not going to get into it too much, but yeah, there's two versions of this game. I'm talking about old school, the remake of the 2007 version of the game. This game does not want you to spend your money on cosmetics or use it to pay to win and skip grinds. The only form of microtransactions that are even in old school RuneScape come in the form of bonds. These are items that can be redeemed for a certain amount of the game's paid membership service, or they can be sold on the game's auction house for in-game currency, and they will be bought by wealthy players who are able to fully subsidize their accounts through the in-game currency. There is no easy way out of the grind. Even if you buy the best in-slot gear and the fastest training methods, you will still have to put hours and hours of real work into progressing your account. But this game isn't a full nerd neck game. The game has many passive activities, things you can do while you have it thrown on a second monitor, only clicking once every so often. These activities can range from once every 30 seconds to a single click every half hour for some incredibly relaxed training methods. But this game also features a ton of things that range from that half hour of time down to incredibly intense nerd neck gaming that requires absolute focus and precise actions done in hundreds of milliseconds. Let's talk about the depth of the gameplay. I mentioned earlier this intense variety of things that are present, and a great deal of the game definitely boils down to pointing on a tree or a rock or some crafting material and then clicking again until you've exhausted all of the resources. But there is an entire other axis of gameplay. high-end bossing encounters. Now, in these encounters, the game plays closer to a rhythm game. Players have very specific actions that they have to do during a single cycle of the game's servers. These cycles are colloquially known as ticks. There are a variety of things, like switch their defensive magic, which in the game are known as prayers, change the gear they need to something more suitable for whatever it is they're fighting with, or move to avoid some unprayerable damage, or even heal with food or potions. None of the incredibly advanced maneuvers are required to play this game, or even to do a lot of like the beginning end stages of bossing. This is something only for the true gamers, but it is a very mechanically deep game, and you can reach the max level in your account without ever touching any of these mechanics. But this game does have mechanical depth. Some people have even compared higher-end bossing to From Software games, just in terms of the mechanical knowledge needed and the difficulty of the boss encounters. Hell, one of the biggest YouTubers for this game is this guy named Settled, and he used to do no-hit runs of FromSoft games, and he genuinely thinks that RuneScape's hour-long Inferno boss is harder than that. The game has something for everyone. If you're a nerdneck gamer, if you're someone who enjoys checking things off of a list, if you're someone who wants a nice cozy game to throw on while watching some TV, if you're someone who wants a true sandbox experience where you can play the game exactly as you want, if you're someone who likes player versus player content, if you're someone who likes gambling, hell, there's even some of that in this game. This is the video game for you. But maybe you are looking for something more. You want something outside of the game itself. Well, RuneScape has one of the greatest communities in gaming. Hell, the community is so big for this game, and the player base who do play it are so involved that there are communities within communities within communities. And there are a variety of different ways to play this game and to make it feel like your own. And honestly, at the end of the day, it is just clicking on stuff in a video game. But if we want to reduce everything down to that, so is League of Legends, so is Valorant, so is CSGO. It's about what you feel about that clicking, and I think you can feel great about playing this game. Hope you guys enjoyed. You know what to do if you liked it. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week.